Hi everyone. Today we are going to present a data warehousing tool called Apache Tajo with my team that consists of me, Ruchit Patel,
Hello.
and Arpit Shukla.
Hi.
So we'll be looking into the following things that Apache Tajo offers. We'll quickly look into the introductions of what Apache Tajo is, what are the features and uses, what are the key technologies that it's used, its architecture and components, as well as list of all components. We'll also look at Tajo on cloud, as well as ETL, ELT data transformation capabilities with top competitors in the marketplace and a conclusion for it all. So what is Tajo? Apache Tajo is a big relational and distributed data warehouse. Tajo runs SQL on Hadoop. Now you may ask, what is Hadoop? Hadoop is a framework that allows for distributed processing of large data sets across cluster of computers using simple programming models that is also developed by Apache. Tajo is designed for low latency and scalable ad hoc queries. It also has ETL capabilities on large data sets stores on HDFS, also known as Hadoop Distributed File System, which is a file system developed within Hadoop framework. Here are some well-known features of Tajo. It has inbuilt fault tolerance and restart mechanisms for failed tasks and queries. So whenever a task fails or a query stops running, it can automatically redeploy and restart the failed task. So it is it is very supported in a way like that. It also has superior scalability and user-defined functions, so it can be very very manageable and can expand infinitely. Besides that, it is open source and hence has great connectivity to third-party databases like Oracle and Postgre, and it can even run with Java. And we will look into key technologies, and Ruchit will be presenting from now.
Thank you, Devansh. So Apache Tajo is built on Hadoop with SQL, and as Devansh said, that Hadoop is an open source framework that allows to store and process big data. And since Hadoop has limited querying capabilities, so its performance can be made even better with the help of SQL on Hadoop. And as it is using SQL standards, so it is basically relational and distributed data processing framework. And most of the Tajo queries can be executed without any modification. And it supports data formats like JSON, text file, Percute, sequence file, AVRO, protocol buffer, and Apache ORC. And there are basically three architectural clusters of Apache Tajo, and I'll explain client first. So client will submit the SQL statements to the Tajo master to get the results. And the second cluster is Tajo master. So whenever Tajo master receive uh, submitted query by client, it is responsible for query planning, and it is also the coordinator for workers. So basically, it divides a query into smaller tasks and assign to number of workers. So we can say that there can be multiple workers in one architecture, and each worker has a local query engine that executes assigned tasks, and this worker will use storage service to connect the underlying data storage to Tajo. And Tajo uses Hadoop distributed file system, or HDFS, as an storage layer. And I'll also explain the list of all the components. I have already explained some of them, like client, master, worker. So here the third one is listed, which is catalog server. and it is located in the master cluster as we can see, and it maintains the table and index descriptions. There is one more component known as query master, which is located in Tajo worker cluster. So when Tajo master assigns the query to the query master is responsible for controlling distributed execution plan. There is also a node manager in Tajo worker, which manages all the resources of the worker node, and the task runner, which you can see above the node manager. It, it acts as a local query execution engine, and it is used to run and monitor query process. There is also a query executor, which is used to execute a query, and the lower in the lower part you can see a storage service, which I have already explained in the previous. It basically connects the underlying data storage to Tajo. And the next slide is Tajo on cloud, which will be presented by Arpit. So Arpit, please go ahead.
Uh, yes, thank you, Ruchit. So Tajo has very good support on cloud. It can be deployed on major platforms like AWS and GCP. For that, we have a third-party tool group called Grutter. So Grutter specializes on Tajo deployment on these two cloud platforms, and it provides a service called TaaS, which is Tajo as a service, and we can use this service to deploy Tajo on these clouds. So the benefit of using Tajo on cloud using Grutter are that we get direct access to cloud data storage, so we don't need to do any manual setups or process or anything. We can directly access the cloud data storage for Tajo. Then there is no Hadoop dependencies, so we can use pre-configured and stress-tested cloud environment. There is fast loading because there are no Hadoop loading delays because it is an already deployed instance on cloud, and it supports both HDFS and S3 GCS kind of implementations, and it's cheaper than Elastic MapReduce instances. So in that way, there is no Hadoop dependency. Another benefit is that it uses standard SQL syntax. So any person who knows and who has worked on SQL can easily write queries on Tajo. There is another benefit that it has a simple cloud marketplace deployment. So by simply going to the interface of AWS Marketplace, we can find the Grutter implementation of Tajo, and we can easily deploy it in minutes by just a few clicks. So that way, it is very easy to use. Now, I will go to the next slide. So if I talk about the ETL ELT data transformation capabilities, so Tajo performs these necessary ETL operations which are critical to any data warehouse system. Tajo performs them very efficiently. Users and external programs can query through SQL. So if any person, any user, or any program can knows SQL, or if they can execute SQL, they can easily fire queries to Tajo using that simple SQL syntax, and they can get the data that they want. It is believed that Tajo executes ETL jobs 1.5 to 10 times faster than Hive, which is very impressive. Just to give you an example of how fast Tajo is, Korea's largest telecom company, SK Telecom, started using Tajo for big data analytics, and they noticed that their performance increased by 3.7 times, while their workload decreased by 70%, which is very good example of how impressive Tajo is. Now, if I talk about the top competitors of Tajo, so the first name that comes up is IBM DB2, which is very well known and very well-established competitor from IBM company. There is another competitor called Snowflake, uh, which is also uh, gaining some uh, momentum and gaining some market share in the market right now. There is another tool called Google BigQuery, which is a Google implementation on GCP for data warehousing system. So it is also a competitor for Tajo. Then there is Amazon Redshift, which is Amazon implementation on AWS for data warehousing, which is also very popular these days. So basically, these four are major competitors who perform very similar jobs that is also done by Apache Tajo. So in my opinion, these are the biggest competitors for Apache Tajo. Now I will hand over the presentation to Devansh.
Thank you so much, Arpit. So we'll be concluding all the points that we put forward today and why Tajo is a great data warehousing tool. Apache Tajo has become one of the industry standards to manage big data, and it is also very well known for its low cost, highly scalable, and efficient data warehousing solutions. It has great support from Apache as well as the community because it is open source. And other companies like Grutter also helps Tajo to create DAAS to deploy it on cloud. So it is a very good tool to connect it to any major cloud provider. All in all, Tajo is a great data warehousing tool that has proven itself in the industry again and again. Thank you for listening to us, and these are all the references that we got our data from. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the video.
Thank you.